Welcome, Highfalutin Ski Bum Podcast, episode number 210. It is your pals, Mario and Brian. Mario, what is up?
Doing good. Had a good conversation with some people today, which you'll learn about on the podcast, and still working the work from home coronavirus deal right now.
Yeah, we're still in kind of a weird, crazy place. And last week, we just couldn't get around to getting a podcast out, unfortunately. So, had a little bit of a delay. We got this episode coming out now. Hopefully, you guys enjoy it. Hopefully, it's worth the wait. We think it is. Yeah, like Mario said before, we had a great conversation with some very interesting folks, and you'll hear more about that during the main topic segment. But thank you so much for listening. Check us out, skibumpodcast.com. We have a groovy shop with some fun merch there, skibumpodcast.com/shop. We are on the Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Ski Bum Podcast. It's been a crazy week. Lots of stuff going on in the world. We haven't been posting too much. It's
Yeah, we've been
sometimes it's just
hunkering down.
yeah, it's a little inappropriate to post things, so we kind of been dialing it back. But we're trying to find some positive things in the world and focus on those
So
and
I
post
gotta
that.
say, I had a 13-year-old that saw the post from one of our fans that bought the skier shirt.
Yeah,
He posted that on Instagram. So I showed a 13-year-old, and he said, "That's a really cool shirt." I was like, "Get the fuck out of here."
look at
He,
that.
he doesn't think
See,
anything I have is cool, and he's like, "That's really cool."
even 13-year-olds know how dope our
So
stuff is.
I may have to get him a skier shirt. He's a
Respect.
hockey player, so we may have to do something for him special. But
Oh,
you
there
know,
you go. Nothing wrong with that. So yeah, so check us out on all your favorite podcasting apps as well. Twitter, Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify. We're all there.
we're on Twitter still.
We're
We're
still on
everywhere.
Twitter, of course.
We're iHeartRadio. We're
YouTube,
Spotify's the big one.
Spotify's a big one.
Joe
Joe
Rogan's
Rogan.
going there, so are we.
Joe Rogan got his payday, and maybe we will be too. So
That's right.
might be only hella skiing from now on. Not quite sure.
Oh, we actually
Another
have a story
teaser.
about
Another
that.
teaser. See,
Another teasing the shit out of it already.
tease upon tease.
Brian's on fire today.
That's right. I spit hot fire. I'm on hot fire.
Bitten hot fire. Dylon. He's
So
Dyloning it.
so thank.
You're not Dyloning it back.
That's right. So thank you again for checking us out. And if you want to hit us up, skibumpodcast@gmail.com. If you need stickers, hit us up, DM us on Instagram, or send us an email. We're happy to get them out to you. Just got to reload or reorder in. So we're hooked up and ready to spread the love. So thank you again. And with that, Mario, let's kick it off the way we always do. A little app right today.
So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can actually see the very pretty Reitzenhoff glass that I have here. This is the Neptune God Guy. It's one of my favorites. I like the colors, the blues and the purples. Blue, purple, yellow. Good color combination.
Blue,
Uh,
purple, yellow. Yes.
and then it actually matches the can for the Victory Sour Monkey that I'm drinking. I'm just hoping I don't drop it and spill it all over my computer. That would be
That
bad.
would end the podcast pretty quickly, huh?
At least on my end, you'd be able to talk to Brian for a while. I'd be very upset though.
Damn you,
I've had this,
sour monkey.
this
Damn you,
computer's
dirty
old,
ape.
but you goddamn dirty ape. Um, but yeah, I already had one of these, so this is I have a fresh one now. Oh, this is good. So this is a sour triple, 9.5% from Victory Brewing Company in uh, Downingtown, Pennsylvania. Um, I'm partial to Victory because my little bike gang, my bike group, rides with the spandex and the bad biker jerseys. We ride with the Victory one often, so it's a nice, very nice logo. Um, but yeah, the beer's pretty damn good. I gotta say, it doesn't drink heavy. It drinks light, so you gotta watch out with that because you could definitely pound down like 3 of these, not knowing, and then it'll hit you all at once. But a little sour taste, not too overpowering, not too, pretty light. And I could see drinking this in the sun and passing out. So that's my recommendation.
There you go.
How about you, Brian? What do you got going?
I'm going to the one I called my beer of the year back in January. And, because of our great conversation we had during the main topic today,
Beer of the
I
year.
broke this up. Yeah, this was my favorite beer of the
Ooh,
year that I had, and I had one more left, and I said, God damn it, the world is in such a crazy place right now. There's
yeah.
really no sense in saving it any longer. It just might as well just drink it. So I have a Burlington Beer Company Beekeeper, which
Nice.
is a honey double IPA. Brian,
I
that
remember
sounds
that can. I like
absolutely
the can.
crazy. Yeah, this can is really cool.
Pretty can.
They make the Burlington Beer Company, like all their IPAs are just so fantastic. And this one, it's just got a little bit of honey flavor to it. It's like a smooth sweetness that really mellows out an already mellow IPA. If you're someone who's like, ew, it's probably too sweet, it's gross, I'm not going to convince you. I can't do that. I don't have that power. But if you're someone who's a little bit open minded, a little like, you know what, I like a hint of sweetness in my beer, this beer is just delicious and smooth and tasty. And I really can't say enough about it. I love this beer and I can't wait to go up to Vermont and get more of these because that's just how good they are. But again, I don't, but the world being in the crazy place that it is, I do not know when that's going to happen.
And that's a nice hazy one, right?
Oh, it's super hazy. It looks like freaking freshly squeezed orange juice when you pour it out.
Nice. It's like unfiltered honey when they
Oh,
do
it's just
right?
delicious. Yeah, I love this beer and I love this brewery. So great job, Burlington Beer Company. Whatever we got to do to keep you in business during this nonsense quarantine and distancing and lockdown and riots and whatever the fuck's going on next, like we will do it because we love your beers.
Awesome. All right, moving right into some other stories we have while we're in the
But
outbreak.
one quick comment though, the
Yes.
bottom of it, the last sip you get,
Ooh,
goddamn horrible.
does it slap you in the face? That's the killer
It's just
bees.
so much sentiment, like and
That's the
all
killer
just
bees in there.
oh, like that's the one thing is when you get these double IPAs and they are
Oh
fresh and
yeah.
they're not like overly pasteurized or whatever the hell they do to them.
We got a lot of
Oh,
sediment in the bottom.
terrible! It's like the most painful taste.
But you drink it and you shut the hell up and then you get a new one and that next one probably feels nice and fresh,
Like a
right?
goddamn man. I don't have any more. They're all still in Vermont, so I have to go to
See?
something else. I'm actually going to a. You know what? Fuck it. Let's talk about it. I'm
Double
going to a
opry?
throwback. The
Ooh.
Vermont Double IPA from Long Trail.
Nice. You double IPA? You double
Double double.
opry. You
It's a
always double
double double.
opry. Always
I
double opry.
I honestly don't know how long this has been in my fridge,
Oh
but it
yeah.
has been a long time. And you know
Nice.
what? We're clearing out the inventory, folks.
You gotta. So I read that book that our buddy John recommended about minimalist and minimalizing your life and getting rid of cleaning out clutter and shit. And I believe that the same thing should happen with food. You gotta clear out the fridge.
It's weird the things you hang on to in your fridge sometimes. Like, oh well, I don't want it now, but I'm gonna want it eventually. It's like then it gets moldy and you gotta throw it out anyway. So
Yeah.
just goddamn eat it.
Now I know for a fact that you have a Four Loco in that fridge, waiting. What are you waiting for?
Dude,
What are you waiting
seriously,
for?
I
Right?
honestly I need to remove some rust or some something from my I don't know. That I
I think
really
at
don't
this
know why
point
it's
though, you
there.
gotta save it because we gotta. I don't know if we ever have like a meeting with some people that we know, we gotta like break that out. Be like, oh, everybody bring a beer or a drink, a beverage that you haven't, a special beverage. Some people might bring Pappy Van Winkle. Some people bring like a special beer that's been aged, like a
Happy
120.
Van Four Loco.
You can bring a can of Four Loco, but like that's right, like a boss walking
Dude, I
in there
still
with a
have a can of Red Bull Cola too, from back in the
oh,
day.
that's probably alcoholic by now.
It's got to be right. It's definitely eating through that aluminum.
Oh, it's it's got something special in it. Like what's it? The tritanium? What was in Hot Tub Time Machine? That's what the metal's made out of. It
In the
seeps into
Chernobyl.
the Chernobyl. It sleeps into the Chernobyl. That's what it is. All right, so getting into Another drink. We have a drink recipe on here, and I don't know how this got in here. I don't know if you put this in here for any special reason, but it looks pretty dope. It is called the Switchel cocktail, and originated in the Caribbean, became popular among American colonists in the 17th century in New England. So today, its popularity of shrubs and kombucha, the Switchel, is making a comeback. And this may be because Brian was on his kombucha kick, alcoholic kombucha. I've had alcoholic kombucha on the show. That one I had the other day. Well,
Hard kombucha.
hard kombucha. So this one gentleman they mentioned in the article from Liquor.com, Kevin Murphy, is a bar director and assistant at Daisy's, an American restaurant in Chicago, and he praises the Switchels for their health benefits. So if you want to drink and you're like, you know what, going to happy hour, I don't feel like drinking, I poisoned my body last 2 days in a row, you know what, drink this drink. It has a little kombucha. It's good for your GI tract. It's good for everything. Good for your whole body. Um, so they're saying when he when he found that he was disappointed in the flavor of many commercially available varieties, he decided to create his own kombucha for this drink. So he used apple cider vinegar, honey syrup, and sparkling water or club soda. And the spirit's optional, but if you do, you turn it into a cocktail. So he recommends adding no more than 1 ounce of booze to keep things balanced. Which, you know what? Mixing drinks recently. I just set up a new bar. Just built a bar. I think I sent you the pictures of it.
Yep, looks great.
Measuring helps a lot because you're usually a little bit like heavy with the pour of the alcohol, and it does change the hell out of a drink. So if you measure a drink out pretty good, I tell you what, you'd be surprised. You're like, that is a really tasty drink. You think it's like a fancy drink. So yeah, so they have the ingredients there: 1 ounce apple cider vinegar, 1 ounce honey sage syrup, 2 ounces sparkling water or club soda, which is always good. 1 ounce of bourbon or white or aged rum, blended Scotch or
Pretty much
Loso
anything you
sherry.
have floating around.
Yeah, anything you want: bourbon, Scotch, rum, sherry. And then garnish with a sage leaf, which I like sage in drinks, which is odd. It's very odd to say I like sage in a drink, but I've had something with sage before, and it's pretty good. Drinks with sage. Combine all the ingredients in rock glass over ice, stir gently, garnish with fresh sage leaf, and that's it. And the honey sage syrup, that's the key. So remember, I think I mentioned a few weeks ago making your own simple syrup. I recommend it highly. And this is honey sage syrup, which is like a simple syrup. You do a third cup of boiling water to 1 cup of honey and stir honey till it's dissolved. And then steep 3 grams of fresh sage in the syrup for 25 minutes. And then strain out the solids. Store in a refrigerator up to several weeks. So it's nice to have that in. You pull that out. If you are in college, you have a date come back to your place, you make them a fucking cocktail like a boss, you are getting whatever you want that night. I'm telling you, it is the best party trick. You do that for people and they're like, holy shit, how do you know how to make this? And what did you do? You're like, I make my own simple syrup. I'm not an idiot, you know? You really do impress with that.
If you have your own bitters too, forget about it.
You break out a nice cocktail and you make somebody a cocktail that they're just like, this is delicious. How did you make it? But like, I just threw some things together. They're like, wow, how'd you blow their mind?
Pretty much. Yeah, it's this seems to be a trend that's evolving in the alcohol industry, is the kind of healthier alternatives to things. You know, like
Yeah.
the whole spiked seltzer versus the beer, and now these
Yeah.
cocktails with healthy ingredients. It's
See, but I
going to
always
be
like the art
interesting.
of the cocktail. There's an art form to making a cocktail. And it's not just heavy booze to get you hammered. It's like a nice drink that's like,
Mixology,
yeah, it just settles.
like being a
Like, if it's
wizard.
well balanced, you're just like, damn, it tastes nice. And you just want to sip it.
Yeah,
Try it. Try it. Step out of that comfort zone.
make your
If,
own goddamn sage simple syrup.
yeah, put a little effort into it, because you know what? Other people, it's great when you make a cocktail. Like, I'll come home. Well, I am home now, but when I stop work, sometimes I'll be like, I want to have a nice fancy cocktail. And everybody in this house knows it's fancy cocktail time when I say I'm making a fancy cocktail. And I take my time. You know, it might take me like 15 minutes to make a goddamn drink, but I tell you what, it is delicious.
There you go.
It's well appreciated.
Speaking of delicious, things are starting to get a little more back to normal. Vermont brew pubs have now welcomed back outside service.
It's good.
So this was
Good to
announced
see.
last week that, like many restaurants, many Vermont breweries are now celebrating the start of outdoor seated service across the state. Before last Saturday, customers were drinking their favorite craft beers at home, but as Vermont relaxes the rules, customers are now drinking it on site.
Nice.
So this is big because most breweries have remained busy with deliveries and curbside, but this is kind of at least a closer return back to normalcy. They're
Yeah.
leaving distancing between tables, but it is nice again getting that little bit of familiarity back into life. So
What I like
hopefully
about
we'll see more of this.
what I like about how they're opening things up is the outside is where it's preferred. Like, you're better off be outside. Like, they're lighter restrictions outside, and everybody likes being out in nature. So especially hitting springtime, hitting summertime, it's gonna be nice.
Yeah,
They're opening bars in Florida on Monday.
look at that.
Everything's gonna be open, and the rule they have is 50% indoor, 100% outdoor. You can have filled.
Wow.
So,
Holy
oh
cow.
yeah, this is big. Because bars have been closed. Restaurants are open, and they're at like 50%. But it's funny. You find there's a few restaurants slash bars that they're just like, just sit at the bar. We don't care. And what I love now is they get the little bar tables and they put them right up against the bar. So instead of having bar tables, the high tops throughout, they put them right up against the bar. So it's almost like you're sitting at the bar, but you're at a table. I like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting, but they're like, hey, get some more space, right?
Yeah. All right.
So I think it's time for
We're finally going back. We're no longer in quarantine in the gondola. It's been cleared out. It's been 14 days, and now we're going back in.
hitting the gondola. So, all right. So first up, we have Leafly is reporting years after legalizing marijuana, voters see it as a huge success. So, residents of of 9 of the 11 states that have legalized the adult use of cannabis have no regrets about ending prohibition. In fact, according to a survey that they just did, um, the majority of people now deem the move a whooping success. So I think when everybody started putting this in, a lot of states were going bankrupt. They were having problems balancing their budget. Um, so they surveyed more than 32,000 Americans in legal states, and they were asked if they considered recreational marijuana legislation to be more of a success or failure. And they were, let's see, 71% in Colorado said they considered it a success. Washington State said 65%. So let's see. Oregon 69%, Massachusetts 67, Nevada 64, California 59, Illinois 59, Michigan 56, Maine 47. So everybody that they surveyed, like, there was a lot of 9 out of the 11 states said, yeah, it was good to do it. So
What the hell, Maine? Only 46%?
fucking Maine.
Bunch of grumpy old Mainers.
Is it really a state? Like, if we go back, like, is Maine really a state?
Maine's pretty dope. It's just
I know.
there are a lot of grumpy old people there.
People are gonna write to us. I'm gonna get more hate mail. I like getting hate mail though.
You stir things up.
That's it.
You're challenging the Mainers. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Has the people who said it's not a success, what is your criteria for saying it's not a success? Do you see people like whacked out on the side of the road like, "Hey man, I just smoked a bunch of weed. Now I crashed my car, man." There's no way that happened. What is it? I mean, did it benefit you personally? Perhaps not. Perhaps you're not into cannabis. That's not
But I want
something
to know
you
the
want to.
47% that said that's they said 47% said it was okay. Only 40%. The ones that said no, do they realize how much money was generated by marijuana sales for taxes that offset the cost of
That's
your
what I'm saying. Like, what made them say it's not a success?
exactly? Because they would have had a freaking tax hike. Their property
Hmm.
tax would have gone through the roof probably if you take that out of the budget. I don't know.
For sure.
What do you do up there in Maine? I don't know.
I
Is
mean,
Maine almost Canada? Can we consider Maine
it's
like
very close.
Can we call it Mainida?
Maine, we sure. Starting now, we could. Why not?
If Canada annexes Maine, I think we got a problem.
There's not much we can do. We're
What do
gonna
we?
be like,
If they annex Vermont right now, I think we have a tough time.
we would fight, but Maine would be like,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
So yes, so California voters may be less than ecstatic about legislation because large sections of the state still function as legal cannabis deserts.
Hmm.
I guess that's like clustered. So it's interesting to see, but whatever the case, not the it's not coronavirus. Let's put it that way.
That's for sure. But now, speaking of Massachusetts and their 67% approval, or saying that 67% say that legislation was more of a success than a failure. Just this past week, Governor of Massachusetts Charlie Baker said, "Let my people go buy weed."
Uh,
He
I want to
probably
know
didn't
how
say
many
it that
people in
way.
Massachusetts said not just that it was a success, but it was a wicked success.
Wicked success, dude.
Be like 40% said wicked success.
At least. So they finally reopened recreational marijuana to purchase in Massachusetts last week. And that's such a funny
Nice.
thing because they were, when they're choosing what's essential and what's not essential, they chose alcohol to be essential.
Yeah, isn't that
Cool.
weird, right?
Okay, I get it. Crazy enough, AA meetings
Yep.
not deemed essential.
But there's AA down here. There's a facility near
That's
here.
AARP. That's different.
No. There's an AA place. Like not. I walk by it, and I tell you what. During this whole Corona thing, packed. That place was packed. And good.
I'm
I know
sure
people need
people
help.
need it bad right now.
Yeah, but it's just interesting. So they deemed it necessary, and I think that it should be because it's one of those things. Like it's an issue. It's like mental health. It's health in general. Like yeah. So, but the thing that got them there is essential too, which is weird too, right? While I drink my beer,
While we drink our beers.
I'm
Yeah, but
just
I heard
saying.
it. I heard in a lot of places that they say that AA was not essential.
That's really. I'm surprised by that.
Listening to a
I mean, that's like
podcast
saying
earlier today,
therapy is not essential, right?
dude.
I don't know.
I've talked about it before. I've gone full freaking anarcho-capitalist, and I was reading a book this week called "The Anatomy of the State" by Murray Rothbard.
All right.
It's on the Mises Institute, mises.org,
I'm gonna
and
write it down.
you
Wait,
can
the
download it for
anatomy of the
free.
state.
Anatomy of the State. It's only
Wait,
like
is it a
six.
book or book on tape?
It's a book. It's only
Fuck.
60. It's only 65 pages. It's a short book.
65 pages. The pictures.
There are some pictures. Don't worry.
Damn, 65 pages. That's nothing. That's
But
a pamphlet.
I was reading it as a PDF on my phone, and I will tell you, I've spoken to a bunch of people who are kind of Austrian economic fans, who are into the Bitcoin crypto space,
Are
and
they are they
that's
in the
one of the books.
Bilderbergs?
No, but
Damn
that's
it.
one of the books they get into. And you
Yes.
start reading it, and all this whole, there's a lot of misinformation and fake information that we're getting these days. And I'm just going to read
That's
you
what
one
the
quick
news
quote.
is.
Seriously, right?
It really is a lot of misinformation in the news.
And here's one of the things that I found really. This book was written, I think, back in the 60s or perhaps the 70s. and it just talks about the state, all about government, their purpose, why they exist, perhaps why they shouldn't exist. And one part they talked about was, it said, another tried and true method for bending subjects to the state's will is inducing guilt. Any increase in private well being can be attacked as unconscionable greed, materialism, or excessive affluence. Profit making can be attacked as exploitation, and usury, mutually beneficial exchanges denounced as selfishness, and somehow with the conclusion always being drawn that more resources should be siphoned from the private to the public sector. The induced guilt makes the public more ready to do just that. For while individual persons tend to indulge in selfish greed, the failure of the state's rulers to engage in exchanges is supposed to signify their devotion to higher and nobler causes. Parasitic predation being apparently morally and aesthetically lofty as compared to peaceful and productive work.
Wow.
You start reading this, you can look at everything going on in the world today and being like, all of these fucking politicians are all just leeches. It's absolutely gross, and it's been going on forever. And there's always a boogeyman. There's always a ploy. There's always a reason why. Well, we're going to need to increase spending for the police, and we're going to need to increase spending for this. Why? You look at all people being told they have to furlough, who are losing their jobs. Not a single goddamn politician, congressman, senator, anybody has taken a pay cut, has been furloughed, has lost their job. They keep getting paid. It's for what? For doing what?
It's like the healthcare, right? Healthcare, it's good for you, but it's not good for us. Like, we have a different healthcare. You guys, like, we're setting the law for you. Healthcare is this healthcare is good for you, but we're not going to take that. We have separate healthcare.
America is supposedly the wealthiest, most prosperous country in the world,
and we're all supposed to be equal.
Where our police
right?
actually have military riot gear, but we don't have health care. Like, that just seems ludicrous.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, I don't want to go on these tangents. That's where I'm coming from. I want people to be able to do what they want to do. I want people to have legalized weed. I want gay people to be able to get married. I don't want racism. I want people to do what they want to do and not hurt other people. That's not asking too much, is it? That's kind of probably most of us want. Most of us who aren't dickheads.
So I had this conversation. You talk about, like, and I know racism is a big thing right now. And, I was having this conversation today, and it came to me today. I was like, so you have racism, and you try to combat racism, right? Now, racism is one of those things that's probably learned. Like, you're not born racist. Like, you learn it either through stuff you see, people around you, whatever, right? So to get that out of people, you can get racism out of people, right? But then it becomes, I equate it to Dr. Seuss and the Starbelly Sneetches. Remember that? Like Dr. Seuss one?
Vaguely, yes.
The haves and have-nots. I have this, you don't have that. So if it goes beyond race, then you're going to fight about something, right? So I think just as humans, we're going to fight about something eventually. So you have race, then you have, you live in this city versus that city. My city's better than yours. You have...
This book actually talks about that too. That anatomy of the state, how you have to kind of rally people around a location, about my state, my college,
right.
my country,
my neighborhood.
Yep.
Right? My dad grew up in the Bronx, and I remember him telling me stories. He was in a gang, because that's just what you did. You were in a gang, and the gang was all about the neighborhood. And even though back then they had a lot of racial tension, they were like, we don't care about the racial tension. If they're part of our neighborhood, they're part of our neighborhood. So it superseded the whole race thing. But if you were from another neighborhood, they would want to beat the shit out of you, and also the race would play into there. It was just
like the Warriors.
Shit. It's just weird shit. But you think about, like, so you adopt whatever you want to adopt to be selective about who you hang out with and who then it becomes, you don't have nice clothes at school, and then you get bullied, and you say something on social media and you're an asshole, and we don't like you now. It's just, people are fickle, and it's going to happen. If it's not race, it's going to be something else, but we got to attack the racism, because it's just, I don't know, it's killing us. And people are confused about, like, I think half of the people don't even know what they're racist about.
Yeah.
They just
Nah.
do what they were taught. I don't know.
Yeah. We're better than all this. All of us are. We know it. I think, it has to almost get this ridiculous for us to kind of swing back and
But
bring everything together.
I saw the cop choking on TV,
Mhm.
and my first thing is I was like clueless to the whole race thing. They were painting it as a racial thing. I thought that was just a cop being an asshole, which a lot of cops that I've known in the past are assholes, and I could see that. I didn't see that as race. I was like, I think it could have been anybody under his knee. He would have been choking him out to death because he's an asshole.
Yeah. Well, didn't
So,
that guy have multiple, um,
yes,
I don't know
he
what they
did.
say, not
Multiple
warrants,
instances where they had to talk to him
write
about,
ups or something? Yeah, whatever it
yes.
was. Hmm.
And of course, he's still out there because whatever. He's a union. There's a police union, and they probably protected him or whatever. They
Well,
protecting their
that's
own. Or
that's the scariest thing is the police union. When you start kind of digging
right.
down that rabbit hole about how
Well,
there's
and that's how you could understand a guy that's been written up multiple times for having police brutality. Now he kills a guy, and people are like, "Why is he still out on the street?" Well, because it's not. I don't think it's necessarily race or whatever. I think the problem is the system is allowing this criminal person to be out in a situation where he's going to do bad shit.
well, think about it. Think about you didn't have a union, you didn't have a city-run police force, and you had a privatized police force.
Yeah.
You know, this is
It's all set up to be bad.
security company Omega. We're going to call it. This is
Yeah.
our company. This is the company that's policing us. If they have a complaint and their officer was acting out of line, not doing as was expected, had a review, they could fire him. But because it's a public part of the government, there's a union involved, they just can't fire them. And
Yeah.
there's this whole weird like brotherhood thing where they always cover each other and no one's able to rat anybody out, otherwise they get screwed over.
Yeah.
It's just the same thing as the mafia. It
And
really
honestly,
is.
you see a lot of protests now going on where some of the police lay down their weapons, or they join the protesters in protesting because you know what? They're tired of the system too. They're people that are working to do a job, and they don't want somebody looking at them as a threat. They're trying to do a good job. And these people that are in their organization, that are policemen, that are abusing it, that are being assholes, that should be thrown off the force or shouldn't have been in, like, let in the first place, are there, and they're standing side by side with this person saying this person doesn't belong there, but nobody's doing anything about it. And I could understand them being frustrated about it too.
Yeah.
You know, it,
Yeah,
it goes both ways. Like,
you
people
see
are
the cops.
frustrated that they're out there, but the cops are frustrated too.
Yeah. I mean, the cops are supposed to be part of the community.
Yeah.
And when you're part of the community, there's so much less of an us versus them mentality. We were talking about it before the
Yeah.
podcast started. In New Jersey, Camden, which used to be the murder capital of the world, has had peaceful protests happening.
Yeah.
Newark, again, pretty much the powder keg for was it the 60s riots or was the riots in the 50s? I forget.
Oh, those are the big race riots. That was, I think, the '60s were
I think
really
it was the
bad in Newark.
60s in
Yeah.
Newark, the big race
New York
riots that
City was
caused
pretty bad
everybody
too.
to leave. That was
Yeah.
all the Italians, all the Irish, the Germans. There was communities in Newark back then. They all left and went out to the suburbs.
Yeah.
Those two cities have had peaceful protests this week, which is so positive and encouraging because it means that not everybody is looting and is being violent and is doing the things that you don't want to see. A lot of people are fed up and upset with the system, and they should be because it's screwed a lot of people over.
Yeah.
And to see people kind of doing something positive to try to make it right is what you really want to see and what can actually get us to a better place.
Well, here's the thing. So we have, Bodie's 13 years old, turning 4, 13 and a half, whatever. And Melanie had a conversation with him, and I had a conversation with him. Like, we talked to him about it because we're like, look, dude, you know what's going on? And he was like, yeah, something bad happened, and now people are protesting, so they're burning down shit. And we're like, yeah, that's not how it works. So we had to explain to him because he doesn't understand. If you want to get angry and you want to hurt somebody else or or destroy stuff. Now you're not protesting. You're going into something else, which is a little darker and a little, that is probably the last option you should have after protesting, right? So we had to like have a conversation with him and explain to him the difference between a protest and a riot. Like a riot is when a protest gets out of hand, or people that go under the disguise of a protest and they just want to loot shit. You know what I mean? So there's looting, there's rioting. Like, you know, when people are together, and this is, we tell him this all the time, because when he hangs out with his friend, it's the same thing hanging out with a bunch of people. You get this groupthink mentality. And then you do stuff that you wouldn't normally do because, hey, you know what? Somebody stood up and they broke something and nobody thought it was a problem. Hey, I could do it too. I feel all energized and whatever. And you get caught up in the moment. And people start doing stuff that they really regret afterwards and they wouldn't normally do. But when they're in a group setting, things get out of hand pretty quick. And, good people do bad things and that happens. But then there's also an element, I think, right now that we're seeing of people that we're targeting to loot. They're like,
Yeah.
we're going out, we're going to steal some shit today, so we're going to loot. Like, we don't care about the protest, we're going to loot. I mean, I don't know.
Messed up. It's super messed up.
That's why you have the who's it, the brother of the guy that got killed. He's out there saying, why are you rioting? Why are you looting? You're looting your local community. Like, so you want to hurt your community to protest police brutality. It's just misguided, just wrong intentions. Like focus on getting something done about it. Like that's, and I agree with that. And we told them, we said, look, you should be able to protest whenever you want. If you want to protest, go ahead and protest, but just be careful that you don't get sucked into something that you don't really want to do.
Yeah.
Could ruin your life.
Mob mentality happens quick.
Yeah. And it could ruin your life or somebody else's that you'll regret for the rest of your life. And it's just not good.
Yep.
Whew.
All right.
A little
off topic there, but
And that was in the
goes
gondola.
into it.
God damn. We got a little. That recreational weed got me going.
There you go.
Damn.
All right, let's now roll into the ski news.
All right. So I guess I'll take the first one, and you can take the second one. How's that sound? So, inthesnow.com. It's not on the snow. In the snow. So, I don't think I've read In the Snow that much, but
because they're in Europe.
That's why.
In the snow.
In the snow. So they wrote a piece called "How Will Ski Resorts Look Next Winter?" So they're talking about what it's going to look like after Corona, after all the stuff happened, after the financial shit hits, and it's good because I think a lot of people in their mind are speculating what it's going to be like what's the price is going to be, where are we going to be able to go, and they're saying the start of the season, the 2020-2021 season is still further away from us than the first coronavirus cases were reported. But everything, as we know, can change quickly in a short amount of time. So they're saying, assuming things haven't changed for the better, they do have ski areas that have reopened and they can see how they've been operating in the pandemic. So mostly smaller ski areas offering snow sports, but many of the big resorts in the Alps in North America are reopening for summer tourism, running the lifts and opening their hotels, shops, and restaurants. And we can already see that what change they've done and how it's working. So I guess it's good. It's almost like a dry run for the snow season, where they're going to run in the summer season. So they're saying, buying your lift pass, they're saying that may change. They're saying they might do, a little bit of, they're saying no limits to number of people allowed on the slopes, only in mountain restaurants and indoor spaces. So that's the thing. So in those areas, they're thinking there's going to be more restrictions. Taking a lift might change. So instead of packing everybody on a lift, they might like separate some people. So if you have a family, big group, you go on a gondola or a lift, and they wait and they hold people up. So there might be bigger lines potentially, unless they're going to, you know, limit number of tickets. They're saying PPE, personal protection equipment, off the slopes as well as on. So they're saying, maybe off the slopes in the village, maybe wear gloves, maybe wear a mask. It depends, what's going on, as well as on. So if you stop and you're at the local restaurant, maybe you keep gloves on or put a mask on or something. I don't know. Checking your health, that might happen too. Um, on mountain and resort dining, so that's definitely going to change. Ski school, ski rentals, ski school, maybe they limit the number of people. I would imagine that wouldn't be such a big deal. Ski rentals, they might have to change the logistics of things. Um, and après ski, unfortunately, as much as we love après ski, that might be where we've gone to places where there's a line to get in. There might be a bigger line to get in now because they may allow less people into these, après ski venues. So
Yeah, I've thought about that. Even the bars like going to, just think about how jammed up it is sometimes. And what is that going to be like? What can they do besides restricting the numbers of people in there? And
so
it's unfortunate because these places, they're not making tons and tons and tons of money. Where
right.
everyone's getting rich, everyone's driving Lamborghinis around.
Yeah.
How are they gonna? Because they want to get by, they want to be successful, they want to make money too, and to be just handcuffed this way.
Yeah. So there's going to have to be corrections. There's going to have to be corrections in how much landlords charge, restaurants and bars to be there. But there's also going to be changes logistically. Like, so if you can only allow, you know, and I guess at some point, if you have a facility, you have a restaurant, a bar, they have fire code, right? So you can't have more than fire code. Well, now fire code may be merged with corona code or social distancing code, right? So now
Mm-hmm.
instead of saying you could have 250 people in a place, they might say by fire code 250, but by health code now you can only have 150, right? So now that limits you to having 150 people in your place when you used to have 250, right? Well, what that's going to do is if you're in a resort town, and I do this because I'm in a resort town now, it's what it's going to do is I would imagine prices are going to go up. So instead of getting a $6 beer, you're going to get $8 beer. And that's fine because as a consumer, okay, so maybe I have one beer instead of two or two beers instead of three, whatever the case might be. But what you might also have is now because the area can't support as many people that might go there, now you have the opportunity for other places to open up, right? So the place that was less traveled, that was there in town, that was maybe not struggling, but just maybe off the beaten trail, maybe they get crowded now. So I don't know. I think it might be a good opportunity for like the entire area of après ski to get a little active.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, we'll
never know.
have to see how this goes, and goes into our next topic, too, our next story. How will COVID-19 change the future of backcountry skiing? And this is an article from Powder Magazine, and they talk about how, the pandemic, after it happened, there was a huge influx of backcountry traffic, causing a lot of crowdedness on the trails, triggering more avalanches, and and
Mm,
also talking about the shops who were selling the gear locally, how this one shop, Bentgate Mountaineering in Golden, Colorado, they said they sold out of their entire skin inventory within the first 2 weeks of the quarantine.
wow.
The big rush initially when the resorts were closing, and people who had never considered backcountry skiing now thought of it as an option. So you just wonder if they do shut stuff down, if they do limit the number of tickets being sold. Like A Basin right now is limiting the tickets they're selling because they're only going to be open for a few more days.
Yeah.
But what's what are we going to do? Like people who don't can't ski the way they usually would, they're going to find ways to do it, and it's going to.
Well, so and this is what I'm talking about. So if you right, so if you push people off the mountain because you don't have capacity, right? But you have capacity for people to do backcountry. Now people are going to maximize the amount of backcountry that you can do because, you know what? Why try to fight? Like it's more of a viable option to look at it because if you're going to level the playing field of like ease of getting there, I don't know, maybe more people do backcountry, right? So it kind of goes with the whole climbing Mount Everest thing. Remember last year there was this whole, and this is before coronavirus. Remember there was just a lot of people that wanted to climb Everest.
Oh yeah, it was traffic jams there last year.
Traffic jams. What are you gonna do there? Like so they were like Nepal was afraid to like limit the number of tickets that people buy. Like I guess they buy a permit to go climb there. I mean, maybe they look at that as, hey, we have to start limiting the number of people up there too, right? So
Yeah.
it kind of gets everywhere. Like it goes into everything.
Yeah, and also too, the article talks about how they're going to some of the places that had online courses or in-person courses are now going to move to online courses,
Mm.
which yeah,
Which,
everyone's pivoting and adjusting.
dude, so we can get what that means for me and you. We can get Avalanche certified online.
I think that's going to happen then.
So the pain in the dick for getting Avalanche certified is you have to go to a class, which is great, but I don't have the time off of work to go spend vacation time to go spend a week to take an Avalanche class, right?
Now
So
we
now you're
can.
saying
No excuses.
I could take one, well, but now you're saying I could take one online. Well, that is probably more feasible to do. Well, I
Virtual
work
avalanche.
virtual Avalanche. So,
I like it.
I mean, hey, you're just digging a hole. That's all you're doing.
Pretty much.
All right, next up we have the Liggety Winebrett Day Camp is still going on in Mount Hood. So session 1, if you want to go out there in the next 10 days, June 16th through 20th. Session 2, June 22nd through 26th. June 20, then they have the 3rd, they have the 4th. So the subsequent weeks, they're saying all the sessions are on snow dates that include lift pass, coaching, and video analysis. Cost is $1,149. I don't think it includes travel there. It includes lodging, I think. But you could sign up. We have the link in the show notes. It looks pretty cool. They're saying the 9th annual ADL Mare Corona Camp at Mount Hood, Oregon. So
Yeah, that's super cool. We're gonna have to get out there one of these years and do that
they're
camp.
actually saying it'll be 100% refundable if they cannot run the camp due to further COVID-19 restrictions.
Look at that.
So,
That's the way you do it.
but this looks pretty cool. Like if you look at the itinerary, so they're saying you do like so lodging. So you got to get your lodging on your own. That $1,200 is just for the camp. And they're saying Olympic class instruction from the greats of the sport, Phil and Steve Murray, along with guests Mark Barant and American downhill legend AJ Kitt, famous Palmer Glacier of Mount Hood. So you're racing down that. Then they do like a bumps thing where they do wine bread, and so it's just kind of cool. Like there's a lot of stuff going on.
You'll definitely come out of there a better skier.
Yeah.
I want to go
So
to
that's the
camp.
Mara camp schedule.
I never
Yeah.
got to go to camp as a kid. I want to go.
Neither did I.
All right, broke ass bitches that we were.
I know. You know what I did for camp? Fucking worked. It was like slave labor, child slave labor camp.
There you go. Build character though, right?
Yeah, did.
Everyone loves character.
Everybody that went to a camp, well, some of the
With
people that went to camp turned out to be a bunch of bitches. So
cokeheads.
yeah, pack of
Yeah.
bitches.
Now it's our turn to go to camp.
Yeah, I want to go.
Now, one other dope thing that came out this week. If you don't want to go to ski camp, how about just go in a helicopter whenever you want to?
Fuck yeah.
Heli, HELI, released their first of its kind global heli skiing season pass.
I wonder if your health insurance would cover it because it's avoiding COVID-19, right?
Seriously, right?
Like it's
Heli
medically
skiing
accessible now.
holders will be able to heli ski and ride unlimited days for an entire year anywhere in the world. The pass will allow guests to reserve trips and heli ski operators anywhere in the world through our network of partners. Heli is in a unique position to offer this kind of product. The season pass will work for adventures that are listed on the Heli marketplace, and reservations made while using the pass will be subject to availability. Formal terms, conditions, restrictions, and pricing will be announced later this summer. So if basically you're sick of lift lines and just don't want to bother with it, you just get this heli pass, do your heli skiing, you're good to go.
Nice.
I want to know, what do you think is going to be the cost of this bad boy?
I'm thinking it's gonna come in at $5,000.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
I think it's gonna be more than that, but
It's
I'm
got
just
to be
saying.
super expensive. Yeah.
I'm hoping $5,000. That may be attainable, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm very curious to see how they're going to price this thing. I
Let's
mean,
put it this way: I put down money for an engagement ring. That could have been my fucking heli skiing.
goddamn
That's my
fucking
heli
ring.
pass. I'm just saying. I'm
Yep.
just fucking saying.
Goddamn. Yeah, we're more to come on this, but I'm very curious to see how much this is going to go for.
Yeah, that'll be cool to see.
Well, you know what? If you don't want to pay for a helipass and you just want to get a nice little private personal ski resort,
Boom. This is set up. I think they put these numbers out because they know you might have hit the lottery this week. Hey, did you think about this thing? So, for sale, $36 million ranch in Colorado on 6,300 acres with private ski slopes. So, Elk Island Ranch is located in the heart of Colorado ski country, approximately 55 miles to each of 5 major ski resorts: Steamboat, Winter Park, Breckenridge, Keystone, and Copper Mountain. So, if you don't want to commute to the mountain with your private butler, I'm sure, you actually have your own private ski slopes on 6,300 acres of land. That's pretty awesome.
it's super awesome.
And they show these, man. So you're 55 minutes from real ski resorts. You have your own little private thing that you can do, and you're less than 10 minutes from a real downtown and a jet strip, which makes that ranch easy to access and enjoy. So this is a steal.
You're losing money not dropping 36 million to buy this place.
That looks pretty dope. The games room looks like I could hang out there. The private slopes, there's a lot of slopes too. I mean, that could be kind of fun in the summer too. You ATV there, you could bike, probably do some hunting.
Yeah. We're thinking about picking it up. We're trying to talk to our finance people. We'll see if we can make that happen.
Kremlin, Colorado. So I don't know what the Mega Millions at. It was like at 330 million or something like that. I think somebody hit it.
That's some big bucks right there.
Damn, that would be chump change if you hit that much.
Buku bucks.
How much are you coming away with? So
Mega Millions at 378 million.
they have it, right? Because you get the cash option.
It's 10%.
So cut that in half, and then you get probably
20%.
like 60% of that.
That would not be a bad way to invest your money. If you do win and you want us to podcast live from there, hit us up, skibumpodcast@gmail.com. We're happy to do so. If you want us to move in and be buddies with you, do that too.
Personal podcast services, we can provide those.
That's true. You could be our special guest.
hey, if you have a party or a special event and you want to hire us, you fly us out, you pay for a lot of shit, we can come out there.
We're there for you.
That'd work. We're there for you. That's, I think that's our slogan. We're there for you.
I think so. And speaking of special guests, we're going to roll into the main topic. So we reached out to, if you haven't heard of it before, the app Untapped. It is a really cool social network around drinking beer. And we reached out to them. And God bless you.
Oh. Oh, by the way, lump sum, you'd walk away with about 150.
There you go.
Damn, you're buying that. You're buying like 3 of those mountains.
So we ended up talking with two of the gentlemen from Untapped, John and Harrison. They do a podcast bi-weekly called Drink Socially for Untapped, and we had a wonderful conversation about drinking beer, what they do, the reach they have, what's been affected with the whole coronavirus lockdown, and just more fun social ways to keep social, to keep connecting to people, even though this crazy lockdown is happening. So we hope you enjoy the interview. It was a great chat. John and Harrison from Untapped. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you want more information and links to getting both John and Harrison, be friends with them on Untapped, we'll have the links for you in the show notes at skibumpodcast.com. Which one of these stories do you want?
I'll take. I don't know. I like them both. You want to roll it up with Satan?
Sure.
All right.
All right. All right. Now it's time to go under the ropes. Mario, kick us off.
All right. So if you were thinking that, everything was shut down during the corona lockdown, Germany is keeping shit alive because they have a drive-in disco. They have a video of it, and it's pretty interesting. So the beat drops, and everybody honks their horns and flashes their lights, and it almost reminds me of like a drive-in, because they have like a stage, and they have everybody hanging out in their cars. And imagine people dancing in the cars and shit like that. So they said last month the world's first drive-in disco opened outside a club in Schuthof, Germany, where nightlife lovers drive in the parking lot outside one of the country's country's largest nightclubs, and watch DJs take stage. So they have a nice stage set up, and this is essentially, it's the parking lot of the giant club. So it's pretty cool. Like, the club looks like a hangar. It's huge, and they set up a stage right there on the edge of the parking lot, and it's pretty cool. So they're actually saying that clubs in Germany may not open until 2021. So they have a weekly event named Auto Disco, and it's a close experience for the time being to being in a club.
Wow. It's funny too, yeah, because they say like you're not drinking, obviously, because you're driving.
Yeah.
So
that's wild.
is that really fun to do in your car for that long?
Oh, they're all doing ecstasy, Molly, whatever the fuck they're doing. They say people can only enter the club building itself to go to the bathroom and have sex. Oh, I'm joking. And go to the bathroom. Only 2 people are allowed at a time. Even then, they must wear masks to comply with health codes. And club patrol the parking lot to make sure everyone is following the rules and staying in their car or maintaining distancing or whatever's going on. I'm sure people are switching cars and whatever. So it's pretty interesting. I gotta say, they actually have in this article, they say some cars ride up equipped with their rave gear like lights. And this one girl, Anna, a driving instructor, tricked out her teaching car with confetti, glow sticks, and Christmas lights. So it's a parking lot club. It has room for 250 cars. The night's cost is about $35 per car for one passenger and one driver. Each additional passenger pays about $15. They start at 9 p.m. while the sky is still light and is over by midnight. not to annoy neighbors.
Look at that.
So
It's like thoughtful clubbing.
that's kind of cool. Like you like, hey, do you want to go out on, if you're going out on a date or you have date night, let's go in the car. Like shit's going down in the car. Just saying,
Could party in the car. Yep.
party in the car.
And we have one
Yeah.
final story here. Under the ropes. This one, the headline for this cracked me up. Never meet your heroes.
Holy
After meeting
shit.
Satan during a medically induced coma, a death metal drummer confirms Satan is not actually that cool.
Not cool.
So,
God
being a
damn.
drummer for thrash metal legends Death Angel, Will Carroll was used to crowds cheering at a show. But inside the California Medical Center on March 30th, the Bay Area rocker received a standing ovation just for opening his eyes. Carroll stayed comatose in intensive care for nearly 2 weeks, mostly in critical condition. He was the worst of 4 patients who were in critical condition because of COVID-19, said Dr. George Horn, a pulmonologist. Carroll's heart failure during the first few days because the medication needed to keep him on a ventilator was so taxing on his body. While in the coma, Carroll said he had dreams of visiting the afterlife. He saw himself leave his body and plummet down to hell, where Satan, a woman in this case, punished him for the deadly sin of sloth, morphing him into a Jabba the Hutt-like monster who vomited
Holy
blood until he had
shit.
a heart attack. I woke up on the hospital bed with tubes coming in and out of me, and there was a nurse right there, and my first words were, "Am I still in hell?" Carol said. She
Wow.
ignored me. I'm
Holy
still
shit.
going to listen to satanic metal, and I still love Deicide and bands like that, Carol said. As far as my personal life and my experience of what I went through, I don't think Satan is quite as cool as I used to. Like, that's just fucking funny, man.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Never meet your heroes, kids. That's what it all
Yes.
comes down to.
So on the bottom of that article, they actually say he now plans on living a healthier life without hard alcohol or bong rips, though he'll still drink alcohol and occasional hard cider, and narrow his marijuana use to edibles. Oh, okay, so we got all that going. And he adopted a belief in a higher power and feels prayers from his family and friends helped him pull through.
So COVID-19 actually helped this guy.
I don't know, man.
Made him
I just want to look up
reevaluate.
Death Angel. I want to see what Death Angel's about.
Big fat bastard, goddamn
Dude,
drummer.
I think I just clicked on Death Angel, the band website. I think I just
Yeah.
got flagged on every fucking like alert watch.
It's like white supremacist.
Oh yeah, I'm it all.
Yeah. It's such a weird kind of music. You know, it's just you don't see a whole lot of black dudes listening to death metal.
I don't. It is musical though. Like I get the musicality behind it. It's just
I get the
very
anger. I get the,
weird.
like the intensity. I get that.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's never like there's never any dudes that any chicks are like, "Oh yeah, I'm super hot and my boyfriend is in a death metal band." It
Yeah,
just
they're all
never happens.
the guys are just kind of weird looking.
It's just kind of like, yeah, it's weird, fat, bearded white guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this is all I can do.
Yeah.
They still get chicks. You're on stage, you're getting chicks.
You're getting
Get-
chicks, but death
It might
metal
be horrible
guys,
chicks, but you're still getting them.
it's true.
Just saying.
I mean, and according to this guy, Satan is a female, which
Yeah, that's right.
take that for however you want. But that's what this guy, he went down for us. He went to hell, checked things out, had a report, and came back to us.
So if he went down there and came back, is he the Antichrist?
Wasn't that like Event Horizon, that movie? Like, didn't
He was reborn,
the ship
right?
went into hell?
Yeah. So if you die and reborn, are you the Antichrist now? He's a
I don't know
Satan
what this
guy.
guy
He
is.
saw the devil. He didn't see God.
It's true.
I don't know.
It's a little scary.
I don't know my Bible well enough to know what's what. So
We'll do some research for next week.
all I know is that guy comes near me, stranger danger. That's it.
Seriously.
That's
Yeah,
it. You're labeled stranger danger.
that's for sure.
So
All right. Well, Satan pretty much wraps up the podcast for the week.
whew, gives me chills.
I
Douche
love
chills.
I love that from Silicon Valley, Guilfoyle had that cup. It said it was supposed to say drink coffee, hail Satan.
Yeah, he said he was a Satanist, right?
Yeah, he's a Satanist.
It's funny.
Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps up the podcast for the week. Thank you so much to John and Harrison from Untapped for joining us and having a great conversation. Check them out on the Untapped app, and you can be friends with them as well as us. We are on the Untapped app, Ski Bum Podcast. Check us out, skibumpodcast.com. We're on all your favorite socials, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Ski Bum Podcast. Go to your favorite podcasting app, subscribe, rate us. We'd really appreciate it. If you want to send us an email, skibumpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next
Copy
week.
of Death Angel's latest hits. Send us an email.
Why the
Stay high,
hell
stay
not?
fluting. That's right.
See ya.
Fucking Death Angel.